Hello y'all and welcome to another battle report. This is me first time facing off the Demon Legion, so it will gonna be very exciting. I myself play my foot-based Kingdom of Aquitaine army. So to start with his army, from the right he got a Father Pestilence of Death hiding behind a building. He got the signature, another Death Snipe, and the one that gives them divine attacks or a spell. Then he got also hiding behind the ruins. He got Horrors with Musician and Banner. He also got a Harbinger BSB, rocking a lot of Path of Nature with Summer Growth and Master of Earth to heal his two big guys. Then he got a unit of Tallyman. They got full command. A Harbinger in that unit who causes fear. Then he got a Demon Engine of Pestilence. Then he got the unit of Blight Flies with command and war standard. He also got a Harbinger Path of Death in there, and he also got some brutal item that any unit in base contact with him cannot use his BSB, which is kind of brutal cause with a combination of death and a lot of fear across the board, it makes a pretty harsh combo. So that's his army, and I wanna just show a close-up of two of his models. This is the Plague Father and the Demon Engine. He have actually printed all of his army in his 3D printer, designed it and all, so I think it's very cool. Unfortunately they are not painted yet, but I just want to show you a close-up of some of his what I think the coolest models in the army. The Flies is awesome as well, so check them out. And what do I bring? I have a unit of Vanguarded Fast Cab, then I got a unit of Aspiring Knights with the Crusade upgrade. I think that's a given. A Treb, and then I got the unit of Knights Forlorn with the command and war standard. I also got my general in there. He got the Talisman of Roland to give them some extra protection from shooting. I also gave him Virtue of Audacity, so he can reroll to hit and to wound against opponents in base contact with strength or toughness higher than 4. And I also gave him Crusader Helm, so I got a 3-up reroll armor save, ignoring lethal strike. Then I got another thing I enjoy, a BSB riding a horse. I got him the Dragon Forge Helm, so we 1-up Fire Forge special rule, very cool. And Sheep as well. And then I get the unit of Fast Cab who I vanguarded there. Then I got a big block of 60 Peasant Levy with Halberds and command. In there I got the Castellan with the upgrade to give them devastating charge. And I also got my Reliquary in that unit. Then in the back I got the unit of 20 Archer with my 2 Wizards in it. I got one with Path of Wilderness, extra spell for her. She got the signature, she got the curse, and the storm spell. Then I got another level 2 Path of Wild, but this one got a scroll, and she rocking the spear and the curse. And then finally to the furthest of right I got a unit of Crusaders, and for my right flank I got some chaff units, a unit of Fast Cab, a unit of Knights Aspirant with Crusader upgrade. I got my brigade unit scouting out there, and a Treb in the corner. So shockingly, since he have not a lot of troops, he drops before me and he got the first turn, and here you can see his lines is pushing up forward against me. So for the human army, second turn, I realized I only needed a 7, which is quite reasonable to make, to get into his Demon Engine with my Peasant Levy, and I think I got so many attacks and I'm bound to roll some 6s and do some harm to him, especially if I can get off some spells on them to improve their chances of killing it. That would be very nice, but I failed at 7. But to get that charge I have to charge my Fast Cav out of the way, so I charge his Tallyman with them and they will make short work of them. My plan was basically to combo charge his Demon Engine with both my peasant and knight crusader, and only the crusader made it in, but I got a flank there, so I hope I can hold him up for at least a turn, and that's basically the plan. Otherwise I stay back with most of my lines. On this flank I basically just push my brigade unit into that building, and they will stay there for the rest of the game, just shooting at things. And basically I didn't get off any cool thing in Magic. In combat, since his demon engine cannot stomp at my knight, and I got the blessing, I pretty much survived pretty unharmed. I have flank and I had a charge. I did a wound to him. I win by 2 because he killed one of my knights, and his stick, he have a BSB and his general leadership 10, so no problem for him. The Tallyman actually really didn't do so good. They only killed 2 of my mounted German, and yeah, I break and run away, which is unfortunate because I wanted him to kill those booger and get them out of the way, because now they are basically only in the way of my knights forlorn. So that's it for my turn. Over to the Demon Legion's second turn. And here we go, nothing's happened. His Tallyman slams into my peasant levy, and this is actually after combat. I didn't have a good picture of it, so you can see he killed very little of mine. I killed like the back rank of him, but he stick thanks to his BSB. In Magic he did get off a death snipe spell on my general, and he suffers a wound. And here his engine do kill 2 of my knights, but I stick. I think I needed a 5 or a 4, and I roll snake eyes, and they are still holding him up. And you can see here the Father Nurgle have hide behind that hill, because one of my triplet can't see him now, misfire last turn, and the other one cannot see him. For the Kingdom of Ecatane second turn, I slam my Crusaders into the flank of his Tallyman. Hopefully I can wipe them out in 1 turn if I'm lucky enough. I rally my mounted Yeoman, and my other knight aspirant just back away from his blight flies, because they don't want to charge them, and they can stay there and protect my Treb if I need to. So that's it for movement. Well, in this combat my lone knights are still holding him up. I think he got to kill 1 of my knights, and the other one just stick around. I needed a low roll this time as well, and I made it. And in the middle I think I failed a double leadership 8 fear check on my peasant levy, so I couldn't do much to him. And now he's countering charge. He rolled very good on his region save as well. Father Nurgle charges the back of the Crusaders. His blight flies, he charges my peasant cab, and they run through the combat. And then he redirected into the flank of my levy unit. Hopefully I can hold him, but now he got that annoying item from his Harbinger on the Blightfly that do not allow me to use my BSB roll, and this is harsh, especially since it causes fear. So my leadership goes down to 8, and if we get some death spell on something, he can lower my general's leadership. So that's a nasty combo he got going for him. Here is just showing his horror moving up to be within 12 inches of Father Nurgle to heal up his wound. He have taken some wound from some bow fire, I think. And his demon engine finally kills my lone knights, but I have held him up for like 2 turns, and for 105 points that's totally worth it. And in the middle, yeah, we hold. I was still steadfast with my unit, and even though it was a bit shaky rolling that leadership 7, no reroll, I did manage to make it with the big unit in the middle, and that's the important thing, because now I can get a flank charge with my Knights Forlorn into his Bright Flies, and hopefully I will wipe them off the table in my turn 3. So here we go. I send in my Knights Forlorn into the flank of his Blightfly unit, and in combat I didn't do much. I did get off the Beast Within on my Peasant Levy unit, which was kind of nice. My Knights Forlorn do some wounds to his Bright Flies, and I actually think we draw this combat, but you can see his Talisman is not too many remaining. My Crusader are not too many remaining, and his Bright Flies are soon to be dead. So for his turn 4, he sent in the Horror into the flank of my Crusader, and this combat is whole fucking clusterfuck in the middle. Unfortunately, I don't like to play this type of game, but sometimes you're just forced to throw everything you got into the middle, unfortunately, and roll some dice. And we hold, and yeah. For Kingdom of Aquitaine turn 4, I think I lost, but I was steadfast. I send in the Knights Aspirant into the flank of his Talisman to finally get rid of them. And yeah, you see the most important things in the middle now. You can see his Demon Engine are walking around this whole combat, maybe charging the flank of the Lever or something. I don't know what he planned to do with that thing. And you can see here my solution for is throwing my one fast cav unit in front of him to stop him from getting into my archer bunker. They're only 55 points, so I'm pretty okay with that. Well, in this turn, I get rid of the Talisman and the Blightflies. He get rid of the Crusader. I think I got one dude remaining. I could use the BSB. What was I down to? Leadership 7. I failed it and I run away. Unfortunately, shit happened. His Father Pestilent misses my Levy unit. I think he rolled double 6 or 11 or something very high, and he slams into my archer bunker. I'm thinking that is fine. I got a leadership 8 reroll. I got a champion to feed him. I got a damsel who have used her scroll to feed her, and then I got another damsel to feed him, and then he can start killing off peasant bowmen. But I will hopefully, if I'm not blowing the leadership test soon, keep the father occupied for a couple of turns until the games end, if I'm got the dice with me. So this is his turns 5. His horror charges my aspiring knights. I choose to flee, which is kind of good because you don't lose your blessing if you flee now. You don't want to redirect into my Levy because they will slaughter them. His Demon Engine charges my fast cav who are blocking him up, and that's basically it. And here's another picture of the battlefield. If you're wondering why I don't talk anything about his magic, because we pretty much both roll pretty crap for magic. You get off some death spells here and there, don't really do much with it. I use my scroll to stop one of his turns. I didn't get off jack shit for my magic. I think I got the Beast Within once on my Levy unit, but that's it. So that's why I don't talk anything about magic or shooting. By the way, my trebs are just scattering all over the place and doing nothing at all. Shockingly, his Demon Engines kill my fast cab, but I only think he did like 2 wounds on me or something ridiculously bad like that. I failed a break check. I was leadership 5 or 6 in base, minus 3 or 4. Of course I'm gonna run for it. You can see a hole in the middle of my unit, and that's because Father Pestilence have eaten up my bowman champion. And I did blew that 8 reroll leadership test, so my bowman run off the board, unfortunately. I forgot to mention it earlier. We are playing the capturing the flag objective, and since we both have 2 units, we couldn't really decide what our scoring unit are gonna be. But the only one he got remaining in is that horror unit, And my plan is to wipe that unit off the board, and then his two big demons are counter-charging me. So I send in my peasant levy to wipe them out. Into the flank I send my mounted yeoman to fight them. Also my aspiring knights rally, which is nice, and hide my BSB behind my knight's forlorn to get him out of the way, but still be within 12 inches of all of my units. And things did go to shit. I did blow off the reroll 8 fear check. I have to roll on the horror, so no, maybe they no I didn't. He has passed a lot of ward, so I couldn't wipe the unit off the board. Maybe that was kind of too optimistic for my taste to do that charge. Not realistic of me to break that unit in once. Other news for his final turn, he charging my Knight's Forlorn unit with his father Pestilence, and his Demon Engine charges into my Peasant Levy to do some damage. He did get off the Death Snipe spell that makes you take leadership, and he killed my BSB unfortunately with a miscast and only suffered power drain, so it didn't get sucked into a hole or something that funny. But yeah, my BSB is dead, and that's shit news for me, because that means my peasant baby couldn't pass that fear check. Now I break it, and I couldn't even kill the 4 or 5 horror that were remaining. I run away with everything. His Demon Engine pursue my Peasant Levy, kill them. His horror are also pursuing them and killing them as well. So that I lost like 440-ish points, and that's harsh. And his horror unit are still surviving because he have his banner remaining, and I only have 1 banner remaining thanks to my Knights Forlorn. And well, in the final turn, my champion took a challenge against his father Pestilence and died. I think I won by Musician in that combat, but he didn't suffer any wounds. He is leadership 10, so no problem for him. In the shooting phase, my brigade, who never does a bad game, shoot down his last remaining horror, and finally my Treb starts hitting. One of them hits the I think is the BSB, yes, the BSB in the head, and kills him. And the other one hit the Demon Engine, does 4 wounds to it. Is I already suffered 2, so it's down to 1 wound remaining, so I get half of that wound, and that's also very much appreciated and needed, because now my general are gonna go in for a challenge with only 1 wound remaining against his father Pestilence. And well, in that combat, yeah, the father Pestilence strike first because I got great weapon. He kills my general. Unfortunately, the other guy just fall off and lost his head, so I let him lie in shame on the floor, being ashamed of how bad they did this game. Anyway, I think I should have won that combat because I got static combat res and he didn't do more than 1 overkill. I didn't do more wounds to him anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But that's the game. It ended up, after counting it up, I took 1,600 points of him. He took 1,600 points of me. I totally forgot my Green Knight, who didn't show up at all. And but I did manage to score the second objective, so I got 600 points from that. So it ended up being a 600-ish, 500-ish points victory for the humans. And that's the game. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them below. I will try to answer them as soon as I can. Feel free to like and start subscribing if you haven't already. And that's it. Have a nice one.